All right, today we're going to talk about order of operations. You need to know these 4 steps. It's grouping symbols, then exponents, then multiply and divide in order from left to right, and then add and subtract in left to right. Grouping symbols could be parentheses, they could be brackets, they could even look like that. I'm not sure what you call those, but I've seen them before. Exponents, we know what exponents are. It's when something's raised to a power. I don't like the word and, instead I like the word or here. You multiply or divide in order from left to right, because what a lot of people do is they see multiply and divide. So what they do is they multiply everything first, then they divide everything, and then they go to add and subtract. And I don't like it that way, because that's not how you should do it. You go from left to right and you go with whatever comes up first. So it could be multiplication or it could be division. Right? That's why I like to use the word or instead. Same thing with add and subtract. It's or. You're not going to do all the addition and then do all the subtraction. That's not how that works. You do addition or subtraction in the order from left to right. The easiest way to memorize it is please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Please would be parentheses, excuse would be exponents. My dear, I put on the same line. That's multiply and divide because you do them in the same step. Add and subtract, you do them in the same step. So please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. If you want to write that, you can. Any questions? All right, write that down. I want you guys to go ahead and work it out. Order operation says to go to parentheses first. So I look, is there any grouping symbols? Yes. And I work everything inside there first. Sometimes you have to go back through order operations and say, is there any more parentheses? Here there's not. So I do 5 minus 1, I get 4. So I have 2 plus 3 times 4. Well, order operation says I multiply before I add. So I'm going to do 3 times 4 and then add that to 2, I get 14. There's a reason for order operations. Order operations keeps everything standardized. And so everybody gets the same answer if they do it in this order. If everybody just does whatever they want, you could get 100 different answers. I've seen people that want to multiply this. Okay, they want to add this first. They don't want to do it right. Follow order of operations. All right, so I go through order operations. There's no grouping symbols. There's no exponents. So I multiply and divide left to right first. The only one I see is 3 and 4, so I times that. Then I rewrite what I've got. I add and subtract in the same step. So I'm going to subtract because that comes first. So I'm with 20 minus 12 is 8. 8 plus 2 is 10. And there's my answer. All right. When you see a problem like this, they give you variables, but they tell you what those variables are. So the first thing I do is I replace all the variables with their number. So that's 4 goes in for X. 5 goes in for Y. And 3 goes in for Z. I make sure it's written just exactly as how I saw it. Then I go through order operations. I see grouping symbols, so I do that first. So I go back through, is there any more grouping symbols? Yes, there's parentheses, but this is a multiplication problem and not another grouping symbol. All right. So what I do is I do the exponent first. What is 3 raised to the 3rd power?
27.
Okay, it is 3 times 3 times 3. It is not 3 times 3. It's 3 times 3 times 3. So that is 27. Then I multiply. So I've got 2 times 5, that's 10. 10 plus 27 is 37. Then I go to the outside of those grouping symbols. I go back to here. All right. And I see that this was 3x squared. So the first thing I do is I square the 4. What is 4 times 4? 16. Which what is 3 times 16? You guys know? 48. I add 48 and 37, I get 85. And that's how I do it. Alright, here's your homework assignment. Hey, you guys eliminate 55. I don't want you doing 55 anymore.